Senator Elizabeth Warren has called for a single-payer healthcare system. Specifically, she has called for Democrats to embrace single-payer healthcare. And, of course, as you should. Clearly, the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, clearly cannot keep us away from the Republicans' plan, eventual repealing. We can't keep going in a game of when is it going to be repealed, and we're going to try to replace it again. We're going to have ACA 2.0. We can't do that. You have to move to a single-payer system, or else you're never going to end up getting actual insurance for the American people. Now, Elizabeth Warren has garnered very much criticism from the progressives because she refused to endorse Bernie Sanders, who was her fellow progressive in the Senate, and she had a lot of criticisms for Hillary Clinton. It seemed she had given her story about the Senate bill. Whereas First Lady, she had campaigned against it, but once she became a senator, she voted for that bill. That was a creditor bill that would not go away. You can watch that on your own. Here's what she said. She said, quote, Obamacare was based on a conservative model, which is very true, actually. It was Bob Dole's plan, and it was actually formed by the Heritage Foundation. If you don't know, the Heritage Foundation is a massive right-wing think tank. Here's what the Huffington Post says. They say, Senator Elizabeth Warren says it's time for Democrats to run on single-payer health care across the country. Smart move. President Barack Obama tried to move us forward with health care coverage by using a conservative model that came from one of the conservative think tanks that had been advanced by a Republican governor in Massachusetts. Warren, referring to Mitt Romney, said in an interview with the Wall Street Journal published Tuesday. So yes, that is true. The think tank she's referring to is indeed the Heritage Foundation. Quote, now it's time for the next step, and the next step is single payer. Warren's comments represent a shift to her position on the U.S. healthcare system. In March, she said her support for switching to single payer, in which the government handles coverage of healthcare costs rather than insurance companies, would depend on whether Democrats could find Republican lawmakers willing to help fix the Affordable Care Act passed under Obama. So this is really important. Every senator that we can get who's a Democrat to support single-payer healthcare is what we need to do to be able to gain momentum. Remember, we have, I think, I want to say 48 Democrats, and then there are a few independents who caucus with Democrats, something around there. But the point here being, it's very important that we push this. Remember, the Affordable Care Act, it was a move in the right direction, but we have to get to the end goal, which is what that stepping stone was made for. The stepping stone was made for single-payer healthcare. Hillary Clinton herself she campaigned for the idea of single-payer healthcare when her husband Bill Clinton was president and she was First Lady. What changed? Well, she got a ton of money from the healthcare industry. So that is the problem. Now, like I said, if we want to stop this game of repeal and replace, we have for the Affordable Care Act in place for, whatever it is, 6 years at this point, almost 7 years, whatever, and now you're about to repeal it. Is that really something you can do? Can you play a game with having a game with the American people's health insurance? You really can't, because essentially what you're saying is, hey, we're going to get this many people on health insurance, but, in 8 years, if the president and the Congress flips, you're kind of fucked. If you have a single-payer system, there's no going back. You're done for. So it would be nearly impossible to be able to go back at that point. And single-payer healthcare, as we're going to be getting into later, is even supported by billionaire Warren Buffett. So it clearly is the best plan. What's up, guys? It's Saul Hill here. You guys are watching The Progressive Voice. Make sure you guys click subscribe down below. We're fighting Donald Trump tooth and nail, and we need your help.